There aren't no sales anymore.
No.
$1 million in the bank. Okay, the Billboard charts measure consumption. That's what they measure. So it's just traffic. It's just a formula of digital sales, radio spins, and streams. And this is why I say formula, because streams actually account for more in what they're doing. So that's what I just made an Instagram video about it, Billboard charts for dummies.
A great video.
The best way to think about Billboard charts in 2025 is the traffic accumulated by a song, album, or artist. It doesn't show you who's making the most money, and it doesn't show you the trends of actual music consumption. Billboard charts are actually calculated from a formula: radio spins plus streams plus digital sales. Like I said, it's a formula, and digital streams count more on the charts than anything else. If you use your brain, you realize, why would streams count more? They're not more valuable. Charts don't show who made the most money or who has the most influence. It shows who gets the most clicks. And what do we know about clicks?
You're gonna spend real money to get fake streams that equate to real money. So that's why they think it makes sense. Say your song has 500 million streams organically, but let's say with fake streams, now you're at 900 million. No one's gonna sit there and be like, this is more like a 500 million stream song. Yeah.
If you're not putting money and faking these bots to get these songs played, they're not going to be on the charts. Then there's the whole terrestrial radio part of it. How do you get a #1 hit? You pay $250,000 to get a #1 hit. In 2025, charting is just data manipulation. It's all marketing. It's not the magic of music. So why would streams account for more? Because they want to push a narrative of what is actually being popular, and the labels can control the Billboard charts, because that's what they were doing before with sales. So now they saw this opportunity, like, wait a minute, we control all the numbers. So YouTube streams count, Spotify streams count. That's clicks. It's just clicks and plays. It's not actually sales. 1,500 streams is one album sale.
Where did it come from?
There's no such thing as album sales. It's just 1,500 streams, and we don't know what that means. That's not a sale.
King Green, who's the person that sits around and says, I think 1,500 is about an album? Like,
right?
Because I can literally listen to an album as one individual, and it's 12 songs.
Right.
And that could be an album too. Why is that not an album if I have 12 songs on it? 1,500?
An album's an album. We're taking this shit back. An album's a fucking album, nigga. If I play a vinyl, that's a fucking album, not whatever you put on the internet.
But if I put Illmatic on, right, and play it, that would be 10 streams, right? Because
no.
No?
That's where it gets tricky.
Because I listened to 10 songs. So that's 10 streams.
Oh, no, yeah.
But that's one album. But I got to listen to 1,500 Nas songs stream to get to one album.
How about this, Torre?
Exactly.
It's beyond you because you're considered one unique listener. So in order to account for that, you have to present yourself. That's where they get tricky with their language on Spotify specifically. They say it has to be this amount of unique listeners before it counts towards their metrics for how they calculate things. So you're one unique user who happens to listen to a song X amount of times. Well, they still got to divvy a lot of that money up into the pie.
So you're saying the industry controls the Billboard charts. So thus, it's not a failure of hip hop. It's that the industry is choosing to not push up hip hop songs, artists now where it was before.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
why would they do that?
300% true. Well, because there is a viability. There's obviously it's business, and there is some truth to the fact that rap music isn't as viable as it was in the same sense on the mainstream sense. Just because we're talking about when we say rap music, okay, no. Sorry. I want to reframe this. Black music. That's very important, because K-pop niggas be rapping, and that shit's very valuable to them. So what I'm trying to say is that they look at what everyone's listening to. If everyone's listening to freaking K-pop over and over again, and country and all this, we're going to be pushing this, and we want this to look very successful. So the people who are listening to Kendrick Lamar, which is been in the top charts for 13 years, his Good Kid album, we can't allow that to stay in the charts. So we change the metrics to allow new music to come in, that so people could be like, yo, this Morgan Wallen, everybody fucking loves this shit. No, we fucking don't. Nobody's listening to Morgan Wallen.
It's not reflective of where the trend is going. They got a new rule that happened right before Luther got removed, where I think they said if you've been in the charts for, I think, above 26, you've been up 20, you're 25 and you fall at 26, they got some kind of rule that they made that you get removed entirely from that chart system to make way for new emerging records. To me, it sounds like they've developed another subscription plan feature or tier for their label relationships so they can say, hey, look, we can get you this amount of time here for this price, for all the dealings that go behind closed doors. The fact that you have a rule like that is so ridiculous because it means that you were never meant to win. It's not a fair system. Fair is not a part of what this is. They create their own rules for their platform. You have these labels who are able to pay their way to make it look like something for, what did you say, $200,000?
$250,000.
$250,000.
Yeah.
The game been rigged, but now I think it's worse, but I think it was strategic for them to make this conversation a viral one. And they use hip hop specifically. And I'm like, when was the last time y'all signed a hip hop act and really put money behind that? They were deprioritizing the signing of rappers 2 years ago, according to Ebro, when he said now they're going to prioritize Afro beats and Latin music. That was a year before the battle.
Are they? So is hip hop? I don't want to say dying; it's too big, but like tilting downward at this point, or no?
Yes, hip hop is so. I guaranteed is in the mainstream. We're talking about mainstream music industry. You can't. That's just true. But independently, hell no. It's the biggest thing in the world independently. That's the thing. It's trending up in independently, and mainstream it's going way down.
Right. Well, to your point, this is what I'm making a point of, and I hope I don't sound completely conspiratorial when I say this. I think this has been part of the process of making sure that product gets devalued over time. Because why else would you sign bad actors to be in the place of people who are actual practitioners of the art form? They're signing TikTok artists that went viral. Doesn't mean that they're ready to go do Rolling Loud, but they put them on Rolling Loud stages. They put these people in position who they themselves say, I don't even really care about rap history. I don't care about none of this stuff. I don't really even care about the craft. I just got a song and I got this shit popping right now. They're signing folks like Catch Me Outside Girl. This is what they were doing on a regular basis. I heard somebody compare it to, imagine if the film industry said, we're going to stop hiring seasoned actors. Instead, we're going to get people who go viral on TikTok, skit actors, and you know what? Even some standouts on Tubi.
They do that. The film industry is going through the exact same thing.
I think this is done purposely to usher in the conversation about AI music. Hip hop is one of the hardest genres when it's in its authentic and purest form. It is one of the hardest genres for AI to duplicate. And I think that's why they attacked jazz. That's why they attacked R&B. That's why they attacked lo-fi beats, because that was easier for them to duplicate, which is why Zania Monet, R&B AI singer, has the #1 album right now. It just feels like all of the timing of this is just ridiculously crazy. Then UMG strikes a deal with Udio in the same process. The same week we talking about this, they struck a deal with Udio, an AI-generated music website.
Yeah. That's inevitable. We'll get into that
right.
piece. Let's break that down in the sense of that. So you have fake streams, you have radio play, and you have radio play that you can manipulate, and you have streams that you can manipulate, right? But the artists you cannot manipulate. That's what you're talking about, especially when you're talking about hip hop, where notably hip hop is about having their own business, being CEOs. I have my own label. These are my artists. I am in control of this. So notably, that's that. So now when the internet comes about and you could throw any of the Lils doing the 2017s, a big ass bag, and they're going to be like, I don't know anything about hip hop. I don't care. I'm just making this song and all that type of stuff. They're easier to control. Yeah. That is something that I will say is not this is not a question. I'm talking about, I know suits, A&Rs, they're like, this makes more sense than me trying to get this legendary rapper or this older rapper that knows what they're doing and has their own business that won't even give me their catalog, where this young rapper who has a song popping on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, he's ready to take this $1 million advance easily. So that turns into exactly what you're saying, which is fucking horrible, but it's twofold. It's the audience, it's the audience being dumbed down, and then the audience also being lazy as well. We have to understand that music is been pushed into so many casual listening spaces where people who are not music fans, like if you're in a coffee shop and you heard what's my girl Nora Jones in 2004, you might not fuck with jazz music or care about her, but you heard it at the Starbucks that you go to every day and you're like, oh, I'll buy this. It was right there on the front. That's casual consumption. So all they did is capitalize on casual consumption, which created the audience that isn't the music fan. So we have to understand that it's one part, it's 66% the label's fault, and then the rest is the audience, because Zanea Monet or whatever shouldn't be successful right now because they faked her streams, they faked her Instagram actually listening to it, because they're like, oh, this is gospel music and it's uplifting and shit like that, and they're like, they don't even know that she's fake or real. That's because they dumb.
Well, this is my question to both of you. Do you think that was purposeful programming for a large majority of the people, since we've always said those with the marketing dollars, those in the corporate, those who have corporate power will use that to force feed the masses. I'm wondering if you're bombarded with a bunch of artists that make you like challenge the things that you said we'd never hear somebody rapping about how they booty hole is brown and they coochie is pink. And then now we're here, and then it gets worse, and then it gets worse, and then it gets worse. How many times does that happen before you say, like, are we going to accept everything? So I'm like looking at this, and I'm saying, is it possible for them that they did this as very purposeful for the audience? You don't think so?
It's not that orchestrated. People are not. It's the music industry is too disjointed. It's not that orchestrated in what you're saying as like, hey, you are now after we make Kanye West, then we're gonna have Drake. After Drake, then we're gonna have Heat. Then we're gonna destroy rap music.
What I'm saying is, there's a decision that's being made by what used to be an A&R. There's a decision that's being made in which they're saying, do I take this artist or this? Do I take this artist that can actually sing? Do I take this artist that can actually write their own lyrics? Or do I look at that and I say, you know what? I'm going to prioritize somebody else who has viral success on a social media platform, even though they've barely recorded any songs. That's a decision. And when you make that decision over and over and over and over again, at some point it becomes an agenda, I think.
No, I completely agree with that. I thought I just explained what that was, in the sense of that they want people they can control. That's a fact. It's not about who let's make everybody stupid and dumb down the music. That's what I'm not trying to say. It's how do we control? If we control the streams, and if we control the radio play, right? And we control the social media growth, why the fuck would they not want to control the artist?
Right.
So I agree.
FN Mecca was the first soft launch of that. Remember FN Mecca, the AI rapper that was rapping like Tekashi 6ix9ine and was saying a whole bunch of niggas, and then they realized he had a white coder.
That's the whole problem right there. I think that Zanea Monet chick, they be saying it's a black woman right that's behind it. I don't believe that. You don't believe it? I don't believe that shit. I understand. I found out who's their marketing situation too. But the whole marketing agency behind that. We're fucked. I was talking. I'm over here with my cousin who just moved out here to Cape Town, South Africa, and he is a programmer and he uses AI. And he was talking to me. He was like, 5 years ago, even reason why he's here, he's developing a whole new app and everything. He said 5 years ago, I was messing around with AI shit, and I was like, we are fucked. And then he's like, be like, this is what's going on, and this is where you need to be in this day and age. There's just going to be a very low percentage of people who are using AI and making all the money, making all the decisions, and then there's going to be everybody else.
I feel like when it's an artistic context, the need for a human connection will still be there, and it can't get all the way to mapping the human spirit, which we need to dig into to make art that will actually be reaching people and touching people and be timeless.
But Toure, it's already happening.
Where is AI making art that is
let me pull this up. Let's just not like, I don't know if actually
valuable to people.
We're gonna get
not just, I mean, it could just make a song, but like art that is actually meaningful to people.
Art that's meaningful. Oh, that's perspective. That's an opinion. I agree that AI art most likely is not meaningful, but I'm talking about actually being consumed by millions of people, and then they're going about their day thinking that it's giving them the same feeling as human art. We're talking about something that's number one on the Billboard charts that is fake, but people are listening to it. They're actually listening to it. There's a whole bunch of fake shit. Like we said, you fake it until you make it. They faked all this stuff, and then people are like, oh, it must be good. It has all these plays, it's getting all these attention. It's on Rolling Stone.
But see, this is why I can't take my full hat off, because I'm like, how do we get to this point? At some point, there had to be some programming along the way that dulled the senses, that lowered the bar, and it kept doing it. But like, what did they think was going to happen when they kept signing these people?
Drake.
Yeah, low key, and the lowest
your
keys,
boy
right?
Drake.
Right. So and you created this music in these images that were hell bent on being as likable and as attainable by the masses as possible. And now we get to this point where it's like, well, who can do a better version of that generic shit? AI. Matter of fact, it can release music faster. It'll never get locked up. It'll never get shot. You ain't never got to do a funeral for it. And on top of that, we can even simulate the fan relationship and make a stan population. A bot population of stans. It's a world you can ultimately control. And if you and like Russ said in that clip that you used, if you get enough of the fake shit mixed with the reality, people believe it's all reality at some point.
Exactly. And that's where it becomes dangerous, because you're messing with one people's money. You're changing the way people think and consume music. And that's the whole issue there. And that's the number one thing that I want our audience to know, is that shit's fake. The Billboard chart is fake. It's been fake for years, and I hate when people, like you said, Drake's fans' rebuttal is, well, he's had 3 number one albums. What the fuck does that mean? He has more fake bots streams? Like, what are we talking about?
You know what's so ironic about that? With they non-hip-hop ass, they get to learn one of the most hip-hop lessons in the world. Live by the gun, die by the gun. You live by the sales, you die by the sales. They're learning that in real time. They're like, damn, we put our whole hat on that. We came up with the name K-Bot because of how much we were obsessed with numbers. And look at how it's backfiring.
It's crazy how much of the Drake story over the last year has been about lawsuits.
Just
like,
lawsuits.
we're telling the story of Drake. This is the chapter of lawsuits.
Through lawsuits.